So today's show is going to be about something that will either help or will not. And it's going to help you if you have two sumps. Anyway, I think it's going to be a really cool show. Alright, so I added a second sump because I wanted more water volume. Ideally, I'd want to get a larger sump or just use an aquarium, a larger aquarium, which is what I did for my second sump. But to do that, I cannot fit the sump underneath my aquarium. I have to drain the aquarium, move the fish to another tank temporarily, have some guys come over, help me lift it up, lower the sump in because I can't get it in from the bottom of the... It's just not going to work out. So instead what I did was I added a second aquarium for water volume. And now my left overflow returns to one sump, which is a 20-gallon aquarium, and the right overflow returns to the right side. They're not connected in any way. Both sumps are completely different. An overflow and a return, and an overflow and a return. They're separate. The tanks are the same size. I have Rio Plus pumps, which are the same size, 2500s, because if you've got one return pump that's smaller than the other, one's going to return water to the tank faster than the other, which is going to mean the water flow is going to be higher in one sump than the other. And you would think it's not a big deal. You would think that water level would be here and water level would be here and it would be okay. No, it doesn't work that way. Over time, one will flow up higher than the other and you're going to have issues. That's the reason for getting the both return pumps the same size. However, return pumps will over time lose their strength and their power. Even if you've got return hosing that's even an inch or two shorter on one side than the other, or you've got PVC pipe on one end with one bend and the other one doesn't have a bend, it goes straight down, you have to take that into consideration. Both sides are the same. I even have ball valves too to help me tweak the setting on each in case one is higher flow than the other. Well, there were many nights where I was sitting in front of the tank for at least an hour, sometimes an hour and a half, literally watching paint dry or water flowing up at a rate of 1 millimeter or so every 5 minutes. Well, you go to bed, what's going to happen in the morning? It's going to overflow. It's going to be overflowed. So my only option now, after exhausting everything else that I just discussed, is get that 125-gallon tank up and lower a bigger sump in, a larger one, like a 40-gallon or whatever. Well, I don't want to do that yet. So what I did was build a water bridge to balance both out. And basically how this works is just physics. It's like a hose or a PVC pipe tube that I made. You're going to put one end in the aquarium, it's going to go up and over, and the other end goes in the other aquarium or the other sump. And you're going to make sure that it's filled with water. It works like a siphon when you vacuum your sand. And that pipe, it's important, has to be filled with water, no air whatsoever, no air bubbles, nothing. Solid water, nothing else. So as one water level lowers, the other was going to rise and they're going to balance each other because they're connected by that pipe. It works out really well. I'm going to use the top of the return pump to blast water through here, pushing water all through here. And once water's in there, we should have a nice, solid PVC filled with water, which will balance the water nicely between the two sumps. This side is coming up. So the tube's filled with water after like 8 seconds of water blast from the pump. That's awesome. All right, that'll say submerged. Just got to make sure that the water line doesn't go above there so the water siphon breaks. So this pipe is filled completely with water. Let's power them on and see what happens. Both return pumps are on. This side went down a little bit because it's balancing. I think we have a winner. Sweet. Now the good news with both bulkheads being wide open is there's more water flowing down into your sump, which is key. That's what you want, because you want a lot of circulation. This is staying steady at that line. This is staying about 1 inch below the line. If I add some of this RO water, you're not going to see much in the way of raising this. But if I was to fill this all the way here, it would push the water level up through the pipe and fill the water level up a little bit. See that little bit of water that I added, like half a gallon, it raised it like 1/4 of an inch on this side. Man, I'm so glad this is resolved. This was driving me crazy. So many times everybody was in bed and I was sitting here screwing around with the bulkhead adjustments, doing this, going up too much, up too little, up too much, up too little. Let me do it by 1 millimeter. There's 1 millimeter. Now I can just leave it wide open and that'll adjust for both sides. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope this was of help. It works great. Again, if I vacuum or do anything to remove the water level in this sump, I gotta make sure I do not go beyond this, because if I do and air gets in there, the siphon will break and I'll have to take that power head again and blast water through it. No big deal. Thanks for watching. New video on aquarium care every Saturday. Thank you so much. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. Take care. See you next time.